G'day and welcome to Blokesworld. And if you think what you're watching right now is a bunch of grown men ripping their way at high speed through a TAFE college on Postie bikes, well, you're right. That's exactly what this is. We're at the Australian Postie Bike Grand Prix. Stick around, it's gonna get awesome. Now, when Blokesworld first heard about the Australian Postie Bike Grand Prix, we were like, what? As if the fun police would ever let that happen. But as you can see with your own eyes, sanity prevails in the awesome town of Cessnock, and this event is every bit as awesome as it sounds. As a spectator, you can get right up close to the action. You'll hear elbows banging on barriers, tyres struggling for grip, and there's battles for position all the way up and down the pack. So what kind of blokes have the audacity to get something like this off the ground? Well, here's one of them.
Well, viewers, I'd like to now introduce you to Robbo. Welcome to the show, champion.
Thank you very much. Good to be on Blokesworld. Lifetime dream come true.
Mate, and lifetime dream for us to be here, and you're the man who got us here. We had a chat to your son a bit earlier. You had 12 seconds in front of him, mate.
12 seconds, are we? I haven't seen the times yet, but I knew we were circulating, so yeah.
Oh, mate, the look of shame on his face when I asked him how the battle's going between the two of you, and you hosed him.
Yeah, well, I'm riding with Darren, who's paying for the bike, and when he handed it over, he said, don't spare the horses, so we lobbed one up there.
Mate, you must be stoked with the turnout. There's so many people have come up from Sydney just to watch the race.
Yeah, it's growing. It's a great thing for our town.
Yeah.
And that's where Blokes Fun just drags people in. We're just a couple of blokes on the cans, come up with this idea, having a lot of fun, and we've had crowds of 10,000 people come and have a look at it.
Yeah. And we were just saying off camera before to the other guys, it's great how these small towns have got something to drag them in every year on the calendar, and this is so much better than having an Elvis festival, isn't it?
Funny you say that. We were asked, what can we do for town? What's a town event? We thought of all sorts of stuff, and someone said a country music festival. I said, I think it's been done. I think Tamworth own that.
Yep.
And they went through a few ideas, and we said, look, in Cessnock, it's all mines, vines, and motorcycles. And so we decided motorcycles was the way to go.
I tell you what, when people think about this race, I think, I'd love to have a crack at that. That looks like so much fun. But when you get here, man, it's serious racing, isn't it?
Well, that's the beauty of it, but you can be at either end of the spectrum. There's a lot of guys and girls lob here for the first time, day licence for $80, roll the postie out of the dairy shed and on you go. So anyone can race here. That's the beauty of it, You can turn up and race world champions. The first year, I was in a panic because we had the idea, we put the money in, we got the sponsorship, we organised all the gear, and no one came. We put the entries up, I entered, Chris Watson entered, and there was no one else. There was a vacuum. And then Kevin Curtin entered the race. And Kevin Curtin, 3 times Australian Superbike champion, and all of a sudden the entry board lit up like a pinball machine because everyone wanted to say, I've raced against Kevin Curtin.
Yeah.
Mate, he was part of the making of this race. We filled it up that first year, and then 10,000 people turned up to have a look at it. And
I guess this year you got all of the younger crew going, I just want to race Chad Reed and Craig Anderson.
Well, that's another thing that's happened. This race started off with a lot of old guys like me, and over these 5 years, there's more and more young guys, and now this year, girls who've come along to have a crack, but it's a great entry-level race. You'll see, as you've seen out there, when the main guys are mixing it, it's full-on racing, But you can be a 16-year-old kid like my son Kane, turn up here today and rub shoulders with the best of them.
He's only 16.
16, you've got to be 16 to win this race. He's been sitting at home over the last couple of years waiting to turn 16 and then roll a bike out at the Postie Bike Grand Prix.
Kane, welcome to Blokesworld.
Yeah, how are you?
Awesome. Now, look, everyone out there is battling for a good time. You're out there battling against your dad, eh?
Yeah. He got 10th. I got 22nd in that heat, so I've got to pick up the pace a bit to keep up with the old man, but I'm confident. Like, we were practicing the other day, times were the same, so as I warm up, get used to the track, should be good.
And we should mention your dad, because he was the one that helped Blokesworld get here. He's a local police officer in town, and he's basically the man who really got this event up and running, huh?
Yeah, he is. So started as like a backyard thing, so we were talking about Vespa racing in Europe, and then one of our mates said, well, that's got no sort of culture here, so no one's going to give it really. And then one of our mates suggested Posties, and we ran with it from there. It's the 5th year, and we got some big names around, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, mate, because, you know, the first 2 days, everyone's going, oh, man, this race is all about the young fellas, and I'm telling you, the old boys are out there, the couple of dad bods are slamming into walls and taking out crew.
Yeah. It's like, I wouldn't like to go up against some of these in terms of contact. Like, I'd just bounce off. Like, 60 kilo, 90 kilo, not much going in my favour there.
Are you finding the Blokesworld stickers giving you any extra horsepower?
Yeah. Well, I came in, looked at it this morning, I've gone, yeah, that'll be a couple of horsepower there, straight away, straight past them, more aerodynamic.
Yeah, nice. What is in the water in this town, huh?
Well, like I say, mines, vines and motorcycles. We do all of those things well.
Mate, absolutely fantastic. Look, I know you're a busy man. You're running the event as well as trying to get on the podium.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us, and we'll catch up for a beer later.
Thanks for coming. I look forward to having a beer with you.
Yeah, awesome. Cheers. See you after these messages.
Welcome back to Blokesworld, and here at the Australian Postie Bike Grand Prix, some of the biggest names in two-wheeled motorsport have come to get in on the fun. Ago caught up with one of them, Mick Kirkness, in the paddock.
Mate, how you doing?
Good, mate. Good to see you. Been a while.
Been a while. How was the States, everything?
Excellent. Had a really good run this year. Got some good dudes over there we're teamed up with now or whatever, and excellent bikes and good people. We've done a month over there this year in August and done like the Peoria TT, Rapid City, Half Mile and the Buffalo Chip TT, so that was cool. Got 3 nationals and a couple of little outlaw races and got to hang out, have a good time.
Now let's talk about your teammate. You've teamed up with Chris Watson.
Yeah, Chris and I have done it now, every year, so I guess this is the 4th or 5th year, is it, whatever it is?
Yeah.
So, every year Chris and I have been together, and one year we had a bike fail, and other than that we've been on the podium every time, so it's good, you know, he's an old man, but he still goes pretty fast, so...
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So any part of the track that you really love around here?
The whole thing's pretty cool, actually. The speed humps getting into the turn after the finish line's pretty cool, and it's a good, exciting race when you get a few guys getting crazy all close together.
Mate, and how good are the girls, eh? They're not mucking around either,
Absolutely not, ripping. There's a few girls here that are going real fast, so I have to make sure I keep them behind me too.
Well, I'm not sure if that was a Freudian slip, but the guys are talking about the women's race, which made its debut this year. In fact, it was Australia's first ever all-female street race, and we caught up with the winner of this little bit of history at the pub.
Yeah, so my name's Elise O'Connor. I'm originally from down here in the Hunter Valley, but I now reside in Rockhampton. And yeah, this is the first year I've taken part in the Postie Grand Prix, and we had the inaugural women's class this year. So yeah, we had 26 girls come along, which was phenomenal. Yeah, you know, I definitely wasn't one of the favourites. I'm from a motocross background, so yeah, there was a few flat tracker and road bike races, and I qualified 6th, so I was about 5 seconds behind the top girls, and I thought, you know what, I can do this. And I went out there, and yeah, I didn't get a great start, but I just picked through them all, and eventually, yeah, got the win. So I've had a massive year this year. I took part in the Fink Desert Race. It was my very first year. I've never done any off-road racing before, and so I went out there, and again, no expectations, so new to me, and I actually managed to take out the women's class there. There was like 650 competitors, and yeah, to come home in first place for the girls was so cool. It was such a great experience. I'm actually a coach as well, so I coach motocross and off-road. Motorbikes is my whole life. I'm an instrumentation electrical technician by trade, so I work out in oil and gas, and then in my time off I run a little motorbike shop up at Yeppoon. So yeah, motorbikes are definitely in my blood, and probably will be for a very long time. So now that I know what I'm in for, I will train. Yeah, it was seriously so new to me. I had no idea what to do on bitumen on a motorbike. And I just followed a few of the girls in the race, and then worked out what they were doing and eventually got faster than them, and yeah, it was cool.
So is it go home, get on Gumtree, buy yourself a Postie bike?
You bet.
Yeah.
Bloody oath.
Now, as Elise mentioned, she coaches motocross, and since she did pretty well on the day, we got her to coach us through a lap of the course.
Yeah, cool. So from the starting line, we go straight in underneath overpass, come into a really tight right-hand corner. So that was one that was bringing everyone unstuck. So come in a chicane to the left, and then we go around a really sharp right through a drain and then over a speed bump. Really tricky part through there. There's some loose gravel and stuff like that through there. Into a really nice left-hander, and again, fast. That back section is really fast. Into another left-hander, and then we come into the TAFE. So that one there is one of the tricky ones. Left-handed, tight drain. That is where I went for the pass for the overall in that corner. Coming to the TAFE, another speed bump, right-hander, definitely all loose through there. There's definitely some barriers on the inside that I hit my knuckles in a few times. And then into a really tight left-hander, which again, I passed a few people through there. It was a good section. That was back down to probably second gear. And then next corner coming in towards the crowd, left-hander. So this is where you want to put it on for the crowd. Stay in third gear, out wide, through, jump, try to lift your front wheel over the speed bump there. Yep, in front of the crowd. And right-hander, sweeper. Next corner is where heaps of people come unstuck. It is greasy, you can see the shine on the road. Favourite corner. So I would lock it up there and slide, and I could hear my wheels, and it sounded so cool. Left-hander, straight, another straight, quite fast, where you could like really tip it in to the left. Then we had a really, really dodgy chicane through this part, and then left-hander, jump off the gutter, right in front of the crowd onto the finish line. So that there, you would tuck right down, third gear, just tuck right down and hope for the best. Yeah, I saw some cameras, and I love a bit of camera action here and there. Yeah, the boys went off at me, actually, my team, because I ground all the side of the foot peg down, so they weren't real happy with me. Yeah, but yeah, the guys from the BD Hotel at Gresford, they rang me up after I'd won Fink, and they're like, we want to go to race the inaugural, race at the Posties, and I was like, hey, I always say yes and I'll learn later.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's pretty good advice, viewers. Oh. While old mate dusts himself off, we're taking a quick commercial break.
We'll be back with more Blokesworld after these messages.
Welcome back to Blokesworld at the Australian Postie Bike Grand Prix. Now, we've been talking up the big names competing in this event, and they don't come much bigger than this. He appeared on Blokesworld as a young fella, and then went on to conquer the world in motocross and supercross. The crowd was thrilled to see him race a Postie bike, and Ado was absolutely stoked to meet up with him again.
Well, viewers, it's been, 14 years since we've had Chad Reed back on Blokesworld. Welcome back, champ.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome. How much fun did you have today?
Oh, I had an awesome blast, actually. Just, I would love to start how we finished, as far as, just how you feel, trusting the turns, coming across the gutters, and then obviously, just on the pavement. So me and Endo had a blast, I think, and we were finally starting to be competitive, and obviously we're post-event, the top three are already out of it because their bikes didn't make it. So I think, currently we end up fifth, but if somebody else gets booted because their bike was illegal, maybe we'll end up with fourth or maybe even a podium. If ours doesn't get pipped, I guess.
I love the quote you did over here when Mr. Brax was interviewing you and going, I'm not prepared to die out there like some of the other dudes.
They really were. I don't know if it's more just that willingness to hit a wall or I guess I call it a barrier. Mm-hmm. I hit one barrier and that was me done. Tick that box.
Yeah, totally.
No, don't do that anymore. I had an absolute blast, but obviously, knowing that you got to get on a plane in 3 days and do your real job, and I was under strict instructions. I wasn't allowed to start the race. I had to let Andrew do that, and then basically told me to wrap me in cotton wool and make sure I make it on that plane on Wednesday. But all in all, I had a freaking blast, to be honest.
And it's great too how the Americans have really adopted you as one of their own as well too, huh?
Yeah, and I think truthfully, as much as Aussie's always home, but like no matter where I'm at, it feels like home, you know? I mean, here I am at 36 years old. I've lived longer in the US than I actually have in Aussie, which is really crazy to think about, you know, like how quickly that's happened. 18 years ago, 19 years ago, it seemed like it was just yesterday that you were packing up a couple of suitcases and heading on to, you know, take on the world. And, you know, a lot of people, like the common conversation is always about, you know, when's it going to end, you know, when you're going to retire. And I just absolutely love it. I really do. I feel that with age and kids and everything like that, the perspective and the, you know, like the enjoyment isn't going down. It actually is going up, you know, and I feel that the common thing that I've heard from everybody that retires is like they just want to get off the road. I love being on the road, you know, like me being on the road feels normal. Yep. It feels like I'm living, and I think life's about living, you know, so yeah, I'm 36. I've raced more Supercrosses than anybody in the history of the sport. Every race from here on out is a new record. So with that said, I want to go a couple more at least, you know.
More inspirational advice, viewers. Who needs therapy? Well, maybe this guy. Now, if you're a motorsport fan, you'll know how important quality commentary is for spectators. You'll probably recognise the golden voice of this man who had the honours.
Oh, mate, I've been involved with this from the very start, and it's something that goes right back to what we all love about motorbikes. You go out and have fun with your mates, having a bit of a steer, a bit of elbowing out the way, and like I've done everything from this to MotoGP for you working on the world circuit, and this is still one of the best events that you'd ever go to. It's down to earth, it's natural. And look at it, everybody's having a ball. Everybody's so enthusiastic, and you can understand why this place has produced guys like we've had Chad Reed, Craig Anderson, but I don't know what it is, whether it's the water or just that you can get out and onto the trails, the fire trails, like you can ride from here to Victoria without even touching dirt, or without touching bitumen, sorry. But no, great place, and that's great to see the council get behind it, and hopefully that now that it's got its own identity, now after 5 years, and mate, you get Chad Reed to team up with his cuzzy, returning to the roots, mate, how good is that?
We'll be back with Blokesworld after these messages.
Oh, look at that.
That's our first live cross.
That's our first live cross. See you after this.
The thing I like about it is we're riding stock Postie bikes, supposedly, and once you get out there, it's on, you know, and you just give it everything that you've got for that full 10 laps, and it's about making up time. It's about staying on the motorcycle and riding clean, passing when you have to, and getting yourself up the ladder. So, you know, a little technical leash has probably prevented us from pulling a top 5, you know, with a bike that really didn't have a lot of horsepower on the dyno. So to say that we rode the balls off this thing, mate, is an understatement, because we really did ride the thing quite hard, and yeah, I'm pretty happy, mate. You know, it's just good fun, you know. And I had two really good battles with Zach Thackeray and also with Craig Anderson. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 51, mate. I'd never think I would have lined up in a race with Craig Anderson and Reedy, and to go out there and battle the way that we did and just show nothing but absolute respect and ability towards one another and just have such a great time. Man, that was awesome. And I said to Ando after it, I said, mate, that's the most intense fun I've ever had on a motorcycle.
My brother done it last year. He said it was great. And then Chad rings me on Monday night, says, what's with this Postie bike race? I said, I don't know, but you need a team, you need a bike. And then away we go. He goes, all right, I'm ringing Watto, I'll ring you back. He rings me on Wednesday night, he goes, oh, we've got a bike, we're ready. You ready? I was like, all right, I'm ready. Dust the leathers off, here we are.
Oh, mate, it's so good to see you back on a bike, mate.
Thank you.
It just feels like it was yesterday, eh?
Yeah, it does, eh? It's I was just saying the last time Chad and I done a sort of similar teams event was '96. He was a junior, I was a senior, and we had a buddy, Terry O'Carroll. He was over 30, so yeah, now we're here together doing it again on a Postie bike that we've both never ridden in a race. And you know, to go out, all the road race guys, man, they're on fire. They're just looking at the lap times, we're a little bit off the pace, so we've got to get in the huddle and work some stuff out. Postie bike's so simple racing, but so much like the best fun you can have, and that's what we all started racing for to start with, is to have fun.
Yep.
You lose sight of that when you go do it as a job.
What is it with the water in this area? When you were born when you were born in a hospital here, do they actually put you in two different wards, whether you're going to be a rugby league player or you're going to ride a motorcycle?
Yeah, I don't know. It's supposed to like that. Yeah, there must be something in the water, because either they've got two heads or they're good at sport.
Awesome.